with Grimlord snacks. And they will be here. Percy will be here. He. Thank you, man. I've never met you before, but perhaps I can sign something for you. Hey. I guess I'm up here somewhere. They're literally still eating, guys. They'll be here in about 2 minutes. Well, including 2 minutes. Including cake and bread. Oh, you gonna be there? Our witches is here! The directors from the VR Troopers is here! Yeah! You didn't direct it, he did. Alright, let's calm it down now, please. Alright? Oh, I've got something for you. You. No, not for you, for Rachel. I was waiting for you guys for half an hour. Where'd you go?
Walking around.
I was looking for you. I do have something for you. So after the panel, or come back to my movie if you don't mind, just for a second. 30 minutes ago, very nice. You're getting a real so you can buy her a nice, slushy. I don't know whatever she likes.
She like that.
She's easy. And back. I'm holding down the fort here.
Yeah, you are. Thank you.
All right, here we go. All right, let's all sing together. Here we go. Let's do a little singing.
All right, we're gonna do a little singing. Let's see if you remember this. Okay.
Oh, here comes our Scott Taylor.
Let's do it, Scott Taylor.
Yay! Without Scott, none of us would be here. So yes, please, guys, give him a standing ovation.
I deserve it. There you go. That's right. Get up a little. Get a stretch. You two talking over there. Stand up a little for this guy. Come on. Thank you very much. This is Scott Taylor. Power Morphicon. VR Trooper Bicon and David and
Again, everybody, thank you guys for coming out. They're grabbing a couple bites to eat, and we'll have them here very shortly. Ron, why are you in the audience? You should be up here on the panel.
I wanted to see you.
Ron wants to be there, guys. He did the theme song. You want to talk a little bit about doing the iconic song work for so many Saban pieces?
Hi, Mr. Ron. Hi, how are you?
Okay, here we go. All right, so here we go, guys. We're going to sing the Ballad of the Beverly Hillbillies, okay? It's going to be Kenny Rogers and Kim Carnes singing. Okay, here we go. Starts out with Kenny.
I guess I should sit down.
The first thing you don't trust. Let me tell you, Kenny Rogers. Let me tell you a story about a man named Ted. The poor mountaineer rarely kept his family fed. But then one day he was shooting at some food. Right up through the ground comes the bubbling crew.
Oil, that is. Texas tea.
Now Kim Carnes. Well, the next thing you know, old Jed's a millionaire. His kin folks said, Jed, move away from there. They said California is the place you ought to be. So he hitched up his rope and he moved to Beverly.
Hills, that is. Movie stars.
Swimming pools.
Sunshine.
Ron wrote the greatest guitar lick ever. How many of you know it? It's from Power Rangers. You guys know, right? Diddly, 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 wow! Go, go, Power Rangers! Did you also write the Digimon one?
Digimon?
No. The Digimon one.
It was gone by Digimon.
Oh, were you? You're already gone. Oh, yeah. Because Digimon was like a David Bowie ripoff. David Bowie ripoff. Remember? Change into digital monsters too in a digital world.
Actually, I'm gonna sing the original Japanese song of the Digimon franchise.
Please do.
You cannot yaru makoro, nanimore nai koro kicha, sora hiro to me, ore tunai kyoro no mille kone ga, seishina aine Diolinas pasajero, oh my life. The title been qualified by the late Koji Wada, the late Japanese singer.
Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone. Come on. Give a little love. And that was a rocket egg roll on our record, of course.
Before we start, I do have a question.
What's it like?
Hello, all right, Ron, before we start, I do have a question, because correct me if I'm wrong, you did X-Men the animated series, is this correct?
Yeah, I did X-Men and Power Rangers, VR Troopers, Sweet Valley High.
All right, we're gonna get the party started, there we go.
Here they come, ladies and gentlemen. And I'll introduce the VR Troopers.
Let's go! Let's bring them up on stage. We got Brad Hawkins, Mike Hollander, Sarah Joy Brown. Thank you so much for joining us today. Take a seat. I didn't get a chance to explain how we're going to be doing this panel, but this may be unlike any other panel you've seen before. We're going to be doing something a little bit different on this one. But before we get started, I think it'd be fun for me to say, us to say, we are. All right, Aaron Bruner, let's go, man. We were going to start with Dash. I was like, what happened?
Bring the chair. You need a chair. Aaron, you need a chair.
One more
You
chair.
got Ron Wasserman, you need a chair.
Here we have.
Come sit on my lap.
There we go, Aaron, there we go.
We used to work together, Aaron and I.
It's okay. So here's what I'm going to do before we start. I'm going to give you guys, we're going to play a game.
Okay.
This panel is going to be game oriented. We're going to call it Reality Bites. It is a quiz game, but it is multiple choice. Hold on one second.
All right, hold on.
And by the way, you guys, how many of you remember the episode in which Aaron Prubner was actually waterboarded? Do you remember that episode? Do you remember that? With the sparklers bottom? No?
Is it like the whole series?
No, it's just one.
Yes, it's actually turned into a game show.
Ron, since you do music, you have to do the theme music between the questions like Jeopardy. Come up with something brilliant.
Okay, we're ready. Listo.
Wait a minute, wait.
Oh, you can't be here,
Where's
bro.
Brad's dad?
Switch easy.
Is he not coming?
He's in San Pedro at a shrine.
We're missing something.
Yeah, we are sitting.
Shall we slide down?
Yeah, take car.
Dave Carr. Scott, we're missing Dave Carr.
Might be back in the green room.
He's in the green room. Does anybody want to get him?
Stop right now. Thank you very much.
We can carry on.
We need David Carr here to human touch.
There we are.
Come on up here. Come on, David. Bring her room.
Tyler Steele, ladies and gentlemen, David Carr.
All right, let's kick this off right. First of all, this is a bit of a full circle moment for me. My name is Joe Deckelmeyer from Screen Rant. But the reason why this is full circle for me is because my first PMC was 2014. And that was the first time I really got into interviewing actors, which sparked my career. Brandon Jim McLaren, who was in the room right now, he was my first ever interview. But the most memorable part of that weekend was this gentleman, Brad Hawkins, took me out drinking on that Sunday. He may not even remember this, but I do, and that was epic. The reason why, though, wasn't because I got to spend time with Brad, even though that was a ton of fun. It made me feel validated, and I felt like, all right, I did a good job with this. So Brad, I have you to thank for that. Thank you very much, sir. And second, how this comes full circle, Aaron Bruner. So Aaron and I, we work in the same industry. We actually met at a Spider-Man event at the Magic Castle.
Aaron is, hold on. It was more than a Spider-Man event at the Magic Castle. We were on a bus that drove around the entire length of the city, and we got to go visit different places that worked on the Spider-Man No Way Home. Was that it?
That's right.
And J.D. Smoove and what's his name?
Martin Starr.
Martin Starr.
They were on the bus with us.
With us the entire time. It was nuts, and it ended with us looking at some costume reveal for Titans.
That's right.
Yeah.
Titans, that's correct.
Yeah, it was Nightwing, I think.
Nightwing, yeah, we saw the Kingdom Come Superman suit at the there was a lot going on that weekend. But anyway, little did Aaron know, I was a VR Trooper fan this whole time. I didn't want to geek out in front of him, I had to be professional. But he didn't know. He DM'd me yesterday and was like, hey, did you even know I was on the show? I absolutely knew you were on the show, Aaron. The fun fact is, I kind of wanted to surprise you with this. But here's the way that this is going to work. This is going to be a quiz. Now the thing is, you guys on stage, you don't need to know the answers, but it's going to be a fun multiple choice game. Now, here's how one of these people on this stage is going to win, but the prize that they win is going to give them power, and that affects one of you guys in the audience. But let's see how this plays out. So the first question we have for you guys, oh, by the way, one thing too that I found very impressive. This show was 92 episodes in 2 seasons. Now to put that in modern era speaking, that's about 8 to 9 seasons of a TV show currently. They shot that in 2 seasons, y'all. That's a lot of work. So this is the reason why we're here, VR Troopers. Again, let's hear it for everybody on the stage. They're incredible. All right, let's get started with this quiz. Okay, so you guys got your whiteboards in front of you. Ron is going to help me keep track of everybody's points.
We don't have pen.
Oh, they should be they're attached to me. There we go. So here's the first question. And I'm going to ask you guys what the answer is after we ask you guys on stage. The original name of the show was not VR Troopers. Was the show's name A, Cybertron, B, VR Warriors, or C, Space Sheriff?
Excuse me, Cybertron.
Whoa, 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 whoa! However, the audience can't help you guys out. So let me know when you guys are locked in with your answers. Everybody seems to be locked in.
Wait a second.
Okay.
Because this is true.
Oh, it's mine.
Right? You
Wow,
know.
he's gonna win.
Ron will back me up. Let's get ready.
All right, so first of all, audience, was the answer. What was the answer? Shout out. They got it right. Let's see what your answers are.
Ron. This is the truth. I will make the promo for you.
Let's hear the
When
premise.
this first came out, they had this footage of Grimlord, and they did this as a promo for it, and it was part metal, part head, metalhead.
So the reason a lot of these questions are going to come up with follow-up questions that tie into the theme of each question. So the question I had for you guys is that you guys didn't know what you were auditioning for. Was it called Cybertron? Was it called PR Troopers? Walk me through your audition process.
Let's start with you, Brad.
Let's see. What's it called? Cybertron was what Jason David Frank made the pilot for. So whenever we were cast, I mean, my story was a little bit different than Sarah and Mike's. I originally got cast as the White Ranger on Power Rangers.
Oh, we'll get there. There's a question all about. There's a question all about.
Yeah, I gave that answer away. So no, I auditioned for the role of the White Ranger. I think his name was Adam or something on the script. Whenever I auditioned, they were looking to add on the new Power Ranger, and he was going to be the new Ranger, and so I auditioned. I got that part. Whenever we got to set, I was under the impression that I was going to be on Power Rangers the whole time, and then in that moment, there was a time where Jason David Frank was doing the Green Ranger. And he became so popular as the Green Ranger, they couldn't lose him from the franchise. So Jason David Frank did, in his off-season, right after he had finished Green Ranger, he did a pilot called Cybertron. And it's basically, if you look on YouTube, you look up Cybertron pilot, it'll be everything VR Troopers with Jason David Frank's like superimposed head over my character. So it's really good. But the same black jacket, the same red shirt. He had his ponytail. I didn't have a ponytail. But no, he did the Cybertron pilot that they ended up selling and getting approved for production. And I ended up, at the very end, they were just like, look, hey, about that White Ranger thing we wanted to hire you for, well, that's not going to happen. So we're going to keep Jason David Frank. He's going to become the new White Ranger. We got this brand new, really cool show called VR Troopers that we want to do for you. It's like a Heinz consolation prize. Yeah. You don't get what we told you, but we got this really cool shiny thing over here you can have as a door prize. But I got to work with these guys, so I think I lucked out. I think I'm the lucky one.
Incredible. That's fantastic. All right, let's move on to our second question, because I want to fly through these. Okay, what city did the series take place in? A, Tech World City. B, New Jack City. Or C, Cross World City. Let me know when your guys' answers locked in, and we're going to ask you guys, if you guys know the answer. Locked in? Brad, you got locked in?
I would write down
You're locked in, Dave?
That was the wrong answer.
Yeah. All right. Guys, what is the answer?
New Jack City.
That is the correct answer. C, Crossworld City. Oh, that's wrong. Let's see. Okay, so most of all of you guys got it right, except here, Michael missed that one, so you guys are all even right now. Now, it is Crossworld City. You got it wrong.
Cross with anyone. Go to your room. It's Happy City.
So the reason I asked this question is because that was the location of the show. We'll get there. We got that coming. Dave, for you got to shoot a lot of the stuff at the Harbor City Angels Bell in Harbor City, your intro stuff, the karate stuff. Talk to me about shooting at that location, and then I also want to follow that up with you guys shooting up in where'd you guys shoot? You guys shot up in Santa Clarita. So that was pretty close to where the Power Rangers was shooting. Did you guys ever see them when you guys were on downtime or when they were on downtime? So we'll start with you in the Harbor City, Dave.
I was going to be rude earlier and interrupt Brad, and I didn't because the microphone wasn't working.
I know your mom gave you a $100.
I'm going to sit on Aaron's lap here. But I felt a little left out because we, on second unit, used to shoot, I would say, 2 or 3 times a week in San Pedro, the beautiful San Pedro Bell Shrine. And I worked with a young man named Farron Thompson, and he would go to school during half the day there, because he was probably 10 or 11 years old. And so when I get to shoot with Sarah and Mike and Brad, when is that happening? So anytime I went to, I believe it was Magic Movie Studios, that we would shoot there. So we did the Quest for Power series, and I got to have quite a bit of involvement in that, and then of course the Dark Heart series. And I believe there was a reunion show that where me and Brad and Sarah and Mike were reunited for a Christmas show. And so that was a real thrill for me. A lot of fun.
Now, talking about Santa Clarita, like you guys said, you guys shot right next to the Power Rangers. Do you guys have any fun stories when you would go to their set or they would come to your set? Or just fun stories about shooting in Santa Clarita in general?
Me and Mike would end up at the Sweet Valley High set. So, two smoke show blonde twins that were on that show. We were just they were looking for us after lunch, and somehow we just ended up on that set.
I'm sorry, one of them was Mary Nicole Hauser, famously, at the time, I think. Amy Jo Johnson was one of my best friends when I was in high school, and she, at one point, started working for a show for Saban that I had never heard of, and she said, oh, it's called Power Rangers, and we play, basically high schoolers, and I was in high school. She and our other best friend, Gwen, and myself were all actresses that did a showcase together. So we were in acting class together. That's how I met Amy Jo. And one day Amy Jo said, hey, would you and Gwen, it's Gwen Sanford, by the way, she does all the music for Orange is the New Black and Weeds. And so she said, hey, would you and Gwen like to come down to the Culver City Studios, which is where they shot Power Rangers at the time. We did, and we brought headshots for the producers. And a few months later, so I graduated in April, I guess, and then by November, they said, hey, we're doing this spin-off of Power Rangers. Would you like to audition? And I did, and I got the job on my 19th birthday. And then about 4 or 5 months later, Amy Jo moved into the same house that I lived in with my mom at the time. It was a big house that Bob Hope built for his mother-in-law, and it was divided in half, so it was 2 separate units. So she became my roommate, sort of, or my next door neighbor, I guess you would say, and she was one of my best friends. So I used to spend a lot of time going back and forth between the sets.
That's what's up.
That was in Toluca Lake, yeah.
Incredible. All right, question number 3. You guys ready? Yes. What was the name of the newspaper that Caitlin worked at? Was it A, the Underground Voice Daily, B, Crossworld City News, or C, the Daily Gazette? Let me know when your answers are locked in. JD, I hope you're keeping score with my buddy Ron up here. Okay, let me know when you guys are locked in.
I got it.
Locked in. All right, audience, what is the answer? That is correct. The Underground Voice Daily. Let's see what you guys got.
Her real name was the Underground Voice Time Daily, but she was cut from the show.
So wait, did all of you guys get it right?
Yes.
No, you got it wrong. Oh, Dave. We just had cross and then world.
I just want to point out that David Carr was #1 on the call sheet.
Yeah, those
All
guessing.
that time.
He was never in
We
the
did all this work and he was #1 on the call sheet. Yes, ladies and gentlemen. You probably made a lot more money than any of us did either. Just because you were older.
This question.
We usually the person who's #1 on the call sheet is like you're the star of the show. It's like if you're an Iron Man, it's it's Robert Downey Jr. as Iron Man. He's #1. And this #1 guy, I'm like, dude, does he ever work? Does this guy ever show
Never
up?
met him until half the first season. I'm like, who is this #1 on the call sheet guy?
Yeah.
Until we saw the actual episode.
And then I see that he's going to be filming today. And I'm like, ooh, he's going to be here. No, he's at the Shrine. He's not even going to see him. He's going to work today, but we're not even going to see him.
Sarah, Michael, this question is for you guys. You guys spent the most time on that set. Do you guys have any fun stories about working at the Underground Voice Daily?
Hold on a second.
Wait, I'll get to you. I'll get to you. I got a question for you. Yes, sir. Yes.
Well, it was a great set. It was beautiful. It was a great set. Okay, what do you think?
It was a great set. Working with Sarah Brown was the best thing in the world. Michael Bacon, he's a little uppity towards me, I gotta be honest. He kept asking me if my beard was nose hair gone bad. I thought that was kind of a little rude, but you know what? Like everyone in this room, I love Bacon. I love Michael Bacon. He was a great martial artist to start with. He made our show. He's also the hardest to crack up. Brad was easier to crack up. Sarah was easier to crack up. I could never crack up Aaron. I don't know why. I think it was hemorrhoidal. There was something going on there. I didn't understand it. Can you explain it, Aaron? Why was I never able to crack you up?
I don't have a mic to talk.
There you go. Thank you. Perfect.
Nobody cracks
Are you kidding me? Are you serious?
No.
You crack me up all the time, man. You were like, in all seriousness, you kept me sane on set. You were like the guy I looked up to, and you brought out a confidence in the comedy that we did. And so, you
You guys
know.
were very silly and cute.
So try now to joke at me with me being the butt of your joke.
Well, a lot of people, David Carr doesn't know that he actually had a spin-off. It was called Carlos and Carson. It was a flop. It was a flop. It was like Hello Larry. It didn't go. And he was there, and he was doing a great job all the time with that little young guy. And Brad Hawkins. What can I say about Brad Hawkins?
So also the set, our first year, we didn't have air conditioning. We were in a hangar, like an airplane hangar, and it was not insulated. So not only did we have to pause when we were in the Underground Voice Daily, every time any kind of helicopter or plane went overhead, we had to stop or we had to reshoot, but it was 120 degrees on the set where they actually did the filming. So it was outrageous. Yeah, it was holy hell. There you go.
I can just
It
see
was-
that
it was rough.
going.
So if I ever look like if you see us and we're just saying it's real.
I can just see him up in corporate, up in the big offices. Hey, hi. Do we give them air or not?
No, not until we got the number one.
There's no budget
spot.
for air. There's no budget for air for the
But wait a minute, that show, the budget was $750,000 an episode.
Wow.
So if you put sort of that together and realize we didn't have air conditioning, and they spent almost $16 million
I
in 2
think
years on
Al
their
Mitchell
budget.
probably knows the actual budget of the show.
No, it's in the Variety, by the way. It's in Variety. It says $750,000 an episode. And I think, I don't know.
Probably closer to
I made
$36,000.
$45,000 in my first year. So do the math. It went somewhere, but that's good.
Well, Hyde and Shuki's fee was $300,000 each per episode, so that's why.
That makes
There we go.
Aaron, talk to me about your experience working on that set. And what's interesting too is that you worked at a news station and now you're a journalist. So if you had to give advice to Percy, what would that advice look like?
I just want to go on the record and say this is why I was excited that you were going to be moderating. Okay, so from what I remember, now I was in a very heavy outfit a lot. The blazer was starched and very heavy. The shirt I wore, I think they cleaned once a week. And the sweating I did in that set. And Sarah's absolutely right. I fell down a lot in that set. I tripped a lot. I remember falling downstairs, being attacked by a Xerox machine. As Michael loves to point out, every time we do this, I was waterboarded.
He was.
Like 4 different times.
Waterboarding. He was waterboarding.
The scene he's talking about is I pick up a Sparkletts bottle full of water and then lose my balance, fall back on the table, and it then pours out onto my face. And I remember when they're like, cut, okay, let's go again. And I was like, am I supposed to look dry? This is ridiculous.
They said, could you swallow more water? And he did.
That's true, yes. Advice I would give. You want me to give advice to Percy?
Yeah, what is Aaron, as the pro journalist for CNET, telling Percy for his journalistic career?
Shut up.
All right, fair answer. Fair answer. Fair answer, I love it.
Get out of your own way.
That's why he was always looking up to me. He was prone. Every shot he was prone.
All right, the next question I have for you guys is, what was the dog's name? A, Zeb, B, Jeb, or C, Rex?
Pretty hard question.
Let me know what you guys, I think these are progressively going to get harder though, Sarah. I think so.
Okay, we're ready.
All right, reveal your answers when you are ready. No.
Show them, Sarah.
Stinky farts is the answer. That was a good one. Birthday, stinky farts. Birthday was stinky farts. Most of you guys, or all of you guys, got that right. Do we have any fun stories about Zeb the dog, who was actually played by, or Zeb was played by?
I was scared of that dog. I'll be quite honest, because I had to do a lot of scenes with him where I hated him, or that he really bothered me. And so he learned that I was an erratic, crazy person around him. So I remember his trainer, whose name I forget.
That's
Is that a stuffed Jeb?
Yeah.
Thank you. I pulled out a Percy's piece. I had to do a lot of work to get the dog to trust me as like just an action, as Aaron, because every time I was on set with him, I was either yelling at him or tripping over him or running away from him. So that was an exercise in patience.
The dog was fed cheese and peanut butter. I don't know if that was legal, but it was a non-union show. And that's why he farted all the time. So I loved Bill O'Dell's dog. I loved him. And then when he passed on, or when he retired, we had one of his babies that came on as, the dog's name was Zeb. So he was a sweetheart, but he was very old, and he did a lot of farting, and that's how he would talk, was giving him cheese and peanut butter.
The poor dog was fed like little rawhide, like little pieces of leather. That was what made him, and like you would give him a little slip, a little thing of leather. It was like a rawhide, and then they do the voiceover and all that stuff. And the poor thing, this dog ate like a baseball glove worth of leather to film these scenes, because if they didn't get what they wanted, they just kept feeding him leather. You know?
Like what?
Who did the voice of Jeb the dog?
Figure it out.
You guys know who did the voice of Jeb, right?
Okay.
Go ahead. Carrie Maya, that's right. You did the voice.
Who was also Goldar. That is correct.
So this is the follow-up question to that. Jeb's voice was a parody of which Hollywood actor? A, Christopher Walken. B, Clint Eastwood. Or C, Jack Nicholson? Come on, let's let them figure it out. All right, here we go. Let's see what you guys got. Jack.
Christopher
Is that
Nicholson.
Jack? That's Jack. You guys all got it right. Got it right. So the question I have for you guys, a lot of you guys do these conventions and a lot of these panels. Do you guys have any fun celebrity stories of people that you've met like doing these conventions? Yeah. This is her first con, so this is, there we go. Let's hear it.
I got to meet Lou Ferrigno at
Yeah.
con up north. That was really cool when we got in the green room together and he just like walked up to me, shook hands, and we got a photo together. I posted online, so yeah, that was pretty cool.
Brad, I know you do a ton of these. Any cool celebrity interactions for you?
It was weird because now that I've got a daughter, when I go to cons, like she gets to come most of the time, and we go to see who she's into. So we went and saw the artist that drew Stitch.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah, so that's all she cared about. We got his, one of his original prints with his signature on there. So yeah, I'm excited whenever she's excited to see one. But I heard is Bolo here from him from Bloodsport.
What?
Holy.
Yesterday.
Yesterday? Yeah. That would have been a big one. I was a big Bloodsport fan.
There you go.
Yeah, big Bloodsport fan.
Aaron, you have to have some celebrity interactions. You do the same job, so I know you've met some of these folks.
Yeah, but not really.
I'm not. Let's just. Not
Okay. Jean-Claude Van Damme once gave me a hug because I did a really good interview with him.
There you go.
I once made Walton Goggins cry because we had a really emotional conversation about fatherhood.
I love that. I love that.
Those are the two that come to mind.
Okay.
He gave him a hug with his legs.
I have really good ones, but I'm keeping them to myself.
Yes, that's what we did.
I do have kind of a good one. I don't know why Mike is there. Brad right there. I was just a co-star, but I got to do the Special Olympics and got to sign autographs and hang out with Adam West
Oh, that's amazing.
all day, which was a childhood dream. And the man was the most beautiful man I've ever seen and the kindest guy I've ever met. And it was just a wonderful day. So that's
Great story. Thank you so much for sharing.
I have a little quick one,
Yeah.
which is always show up early for whatever you're doing. I showed up early for a looping job on a movie called The Greatest Game Ever Played. It's about golf. And I met this guy and I thought he was just one of the guys that was going to be looping with us. And he was just nice as could be. And then everyone got there and they said, okay, now we're going to turn it over to the director of the movie. And I'm sitting here talking, and I goes, I got to go quick. It was Bill Pullman, ladies and gentlemen.
Wow.
And it was like old home week is the nicest guy in the world.
That's incredible. Absolutely incredible. We're moving on to the next question, guys. There was an evil billionaire in the season. Was his name A, Victor Carnage, B, Carl Zittger, or C, Cyrus Hex? Let me know when you're, which was the last one? Cyrus Hex. So, let me know when you guys are locked in with your answers. Looks like we're locked in. Guys, what was it?
Victor.
Let's see what you guys got. There. True story. Alright, there we go. The T is warm. Good job, everybody got it right. So here's the reason I asked about the character Carl Zittger, because he was played by a voice actor named Gardner Baldwin, who sadly passed away in 2011. Now the reason I asked about this is because Gardner did a ton of ADR work for different Saban franchises. So with you guys had to do ADR. The great thing about doing a lot of these shows is that you're acting, you're doing stunts, and you're doing ADR. So can you talk to me about the ADR experience working on VR Troopers?
Say something.
I know. That's why, ADR I thought was awkward, weird. I'd never done it before. I didn't realize how difficult it was to, well, first of all, I didn't realize that you had to redo almost all the dialogue that's outdoors. They had microphones, boom mics and everything, and we were recording our dialogue. Well, what was the point of doing all that dialogue if we were not going to even use it? So we had to go back every Saturday. So we worked 12-hour days, 5 days a week, and then we'd have to come in on Saturday and do ADR. And so we'd have to re-record all the dialogue that we did outdoors. Like Sarah said, if there was a plane or any kind of noise, we had to redo that. And then of course all the Japanese footage, we had to ADR and do the voiceover for that. And I think Brad and I, Sarah, I don't remember if you figured out your voice for your character, but I went through some experimentation on how to do the hi-ya! I landed on something really harsh, destroyed my voice, I think. I hated how it sounded, but Brad,
You had a cool voice. Yeah, you got that thing you turn around.
I was actually jealous of how you
there.
did it. You have, I mean, you're a singer. Like, you have a voice. Like, I was trying to keep up with you with how you.
We were biting off of each other. I mean, I knew just enough martial arts to get me the audition. Like, I was just good enough to fool them that this kid can do it. And then when I got to set and I met him, I was like, ooh, he's really good.
Ridiculous.
Like, he's good. I was like, you gotta show me those tricks. So I learned a lot of on-camera moves from Michael. I mean, I truthfully, I was constantly biting on his technique, and I didn't want to have too much of the same style because we had to be different. But he definitely taught me. He taught me a lot. We trained a lot on set. He made me a lot better martial artist for cameras. So thank you for that, man. Really
I don't remember the Saturdays. I don't think I ever did a Saturday, except for when we did Universal. But I do remember working 16-hour days and getting done at like 7, and then being told you have to do ADR till 9 when you got there at 6 a.m. And it being very awkward and not feeling like I was very good at it. But I can tell you this, they made it a lot of fun. We said a lot of bad words. We constantly cussed. There's some outtakes of us in the ADR booth, replacing the dialogue with cuss words and not clean and not family friendly, but really fun. I enjoyed it, but I always thought I was really bad at it. I sound like,
Watching those shows back, you were fantastic. All three of you were actually killed at ADR.
Just a little historical perspective. The ADR room was upstairs from the studio, and the guy that ran the ADR department was Scott Page Baxter, who deserves a whole lot of credit.
Yes.
So many people.
Yeah.
Scott was the heart of the ADR studio.
It was only on our show where I wasn't an ADR director. I would go up there at night, Wendy Lee and I would switch off, and I would direct the original Power Rangers, then I did Masked Rider, I did Big Bad Beetleborgs. All those were directed upstairs in the same room, and it was a huge amount of work. It was literally 40% of our production, I think. And you guys were all great at your weapon call-outs became fantastic.
Absolutely. Again, 92 episodes in 2 years is quite a task.
It was
unheard of.
awesome.
4 episodes every 11 days.
Jeez, that is a workload and a half. This one, I'm assuming that you will all get right, but it'll hopefully lead to a fun story. We've already talked about this a little bit. Which former Power Ranger star was in the pilot called Cybertron? Was that A, Austin St. John, B, Johnny Young Bosch, or C, Jason David Frank?
Can you repeat the question?
Sure. Which former Power Ranger star starred in the pilot called Cybertron? A, Austin St. John, B, Johnny Young Bosch, or C, Jason David Frank? You guys are locked in. Sarah's still going. All right, let's see what your answers are.
It wasn't just one of them.
Yes, JDF is the correct answer. The reason I asked this is because, Sarah, you appeared on Power Rangers Zeo as Heather. So the question I have for you is, how did that come about? Was that role kind of pitched as maybe a larger role later on down the line? And was there ever a possibility of that person becoming a ranger later on down the line?
There wasn't actually. I was going to do a film for Saban. I thought it was for Saban up in Canada shortly after that. And so it was never planned, and they already had 2 fabulous actresses that were regulars, and Jason had his pick of any girl that he could possibly want. I don't really know why they wanted me to do the crossover, but I was really happy to do it. I love Jason. He got me into snowboarding, and I had a blast. And I was excited to do Power Rangers. I was just disappointed that Amy Jo Johnson wasn't on the show anymore by the time I did it, because she and I had been friends. But yeah, no, it was just a 3-parter. It was never going to be anything else.
Michael,